Hello, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone it is for you. Um, this is, for me, this is in large part for me, but it's also for anyone that needs to hear it. I just kind of got the urge to do this. Why not, I always tell myself that I can't because, I don't have anything important to say or I get in my head about that sort of thing, but that doesn't really matter. We're put on this earth and we can just create for the sake of creating. If cavemans can make fucking paintings in their free time, I can make a video of me yapping about my stream of consciousness. I don't know if I need to hear it or if anyone else needs to hear it, but I've been dealing with a lot of self-love issues, and I have been trying to mend them by going to outside forces or exterior factors to make me maybe forget or to try to replace or fulfill a part of me that I don't have, just trying to make up for my lack of love and find it in something or someone else. And sometimes for a moment that feels good, right? Sometimes for a moment we have a friend that might boost us up, maybe a romantic interest, maybe you perform and you do a good job and people like it, and for a second you feel that ego boost. So maybe there are some things that can help you in that moment, but those things go away. Eventually you got to go home. You can't rely or be with those people all the time. Eventually the show's over, and it can be it can be toxic because you rely on people. You give power to I give power to things outside of my control, and people whose lives are not or should not be, dictating whether I'm happy or not. I am emotionally dependent on those things. And this is especially apparent in romantic pursuits. And many times I've repeated the same patterns of these feelings of uncertainty, these fears of commitment, Maybe I find it so hard to be with myself and in my own mind that I have trouble imagining spending that amount of time with the person and committing to that amount of time with the person. And I'm sure it's for many reasons. I'm sure it's because, watching my parents grow up and their marriage not work at all, I think caused me some fear. I think it's also because I'm young and it's just a hard thing for me to I'm 21. It's a hard thing for me to conceptualize of spending the rest of my life with somebody. But it's also really funny when you can love someone very strongly and you can love someone so much that it's worth overcoming those things, and they make you want to push through those things for them. And so for a while recently, there was a person that I've been very interested in, someone that I've felt stronger than I've ever felt about anybody before. And I don't say that lightly. Someone that has really inspired me, and someone who, as rare as it can seem at times where I'm interested in people, someone who I could actually see myself being with in the future, and someone who I've sat down and imagined that, and I can see it. So it's funny how you can love someone that way, but yet if you don't love yourself, it's not going to work. It doesn't matter how much you love them. It doesn't matter how good they are for you. It doesn't matter, because you're counting on them entirely. And there should be a sense of burdening in a relationship, right? Like to a large degree, being in a relationship is understanding that you're going to take up each other's time and you're going to need to meet in the middle and compromise and stuff. But I think I think in my fear, in my selfishness, even when I know that, like, I'm not ready to be in a relationship, and even when I can see that, sometimes it's just easier to do whatever you're doing, because, you know, your brain's like, why would you not want this thing? Here's a person that, might boost you up, say things you want to hear, physically intimate. Maybe they fulfill sexual desires, whatever reason. It could be a multitude or not, whatever. You get the idea, right? A person that fulfills you in that way, a person that brings you up, especially if you have troubles and if you struggle with that. So, and for me, I can be very emotionally charged in that way, and when I feel for people very quickly and very strongly, and that gets in the way, because I don't build the security in the friendship, the connection that is the foundation. I gloss over that, and after some time, if you gloss over that and you're with a person and you try to make it work, like while you're talking and while you're dating or unofficial or whatever, it's like whether you're doing a label or not. If you're being intimate, if you're sharing that, if the feeling's mutual, then there's something greater than friends, right? There's some kind of intimate desire or goal. And I lost my train of thought. But if you're totally forgot. If you, I don't know, they're not going to save you. It doesn't matter how strongly you love them. So you need to love yourself. I need to love myself. And I've been taking the steps to do that. And it's really not easy. It's really hard because you have all these voices in your head that have built up over the years. And some of the voices, maybe it's from family, siblings, parents, school, maybe friends, bullies, romantic interests or partners, whatever. Whatever connections you had where you valued the opinion highly enough, or you just were so insecure that it festered and it stuck with you and it builds up. And those voices in your head that tell you you aren't enough, that's not you. We're not biologically designed to have low feelings of self-worth. Like, you might think, oh, maybe I don't look or feel the way I want to physically, so I'll work out, and that could be a natural thing, because your body is like, oh, I'm not enough to where I want to be physically or health-wise, so I can do something about that, right? But mentally, no one's born or created to feel less of themselves. That is not of nature. That is of nurture. That is of societal, being raised and being uproot in that sort of culture, praise and rebuttal systems where we either did a good job or a bad job, we either look so pretty and great, and there's the coddling of, oh my God, you're doing great, of like too much so, where it's not that it's bad to encourage yourself, and you should, but like, let's say you had like a parent that coddled you and just praised everything you did. You're gonna look for that praise later on in your life. And people that are very insecure and seek validation constantly, or maybe they're narcissists, or just anything along those lines, loosely speaking, is usually because of that praise system. And then same with, rebuke. People, you grew up in the opposite. People said it was never enough. You always did shit. Not good enough grades, not good enough presents, whatever. And then you internalize that too. And then as you get older, you believe it, because how do you know any better? You're a kid. And sometimes those things and those coping mechanisms, right, that you grow up with later on in life, those things aren't necessarily evil, in the sense that if you grow up and I mean, like me, I consider myself to be very emotionally dependent in romantic relationships, and even in my friends, I consider to have very anxious attachment styles where I'm very much focused on if they're okay, and if they are, then I am, and if they're not, then I'm not, and putting my worth on that. Where was I going with that? This is very none of this is scripted or anything. I'm kind of just stream of consciousness. This shit. I don't know. It's not impossible to love yourself. We have the ability to put away rebuke and to put away praise and to encourage ourselves, And one thing that's helped me try to be a little better on this, because I have low self-esteem and I'm working to better that, is to talk to myself like I would another person, Because if I saw somebody and they were saying the things that I'm thinking, right? If they were saying, I'm not enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not deserving of love, people are probably being secretive about how they feel, I take body language and things as a threat, not necessarily like my life is threatened or in danger, but a threat to my connection with that person, right? If I saw somebody that was dealing with those things, I would empathize and I would go up to them and say, that's not true, man. And I would do what I could to help them, You are loved. It's in your head. You're constructing something entirely in your mind. It's not even real. It's not even out there. You're just going back to familiarity. Your brain has gotten used to those thoughts because it had to grow up. It had to survive. Like it's a coping mechanism. And let's say you were raised in a family where you had to be avoidant or anxiously attached in order to survive, in order to move forward in that environment, whatever it may be. So it served you to a degree. It did its justice, and it's not that it's necessarily evil or that it will haunt you forever, but it can fester and it can stay with you as you get older, and those things can just turn into rot and just get worse and worse and worse as you get older. You could think more negative thoughts with that base foundation, right? Or just different thoughts that might support it. And then you look around at the world and at people and you go, oh, this thing right here, this is proof. This is a sign of my insecurity, right? People that are anxious or insecure about something, if they're so in their head about it, if they see things that might loosely support their theory, that's going to be proof, right? Oh, there it is, right there. That's the proof. I'm not crazy. Oh God, it's true, and then it's a whole spiral. But it's all in your head. Like it's all in here, and I'm trying to realize that we're more than just our brains and our bodies. Our consciousness go further than that, and we don't have to. It's much deeper than that, and that feeling of self-love that you have, it's not just loving your physical anatomy, because I don't struggle from low self-esteem of how I look, which is something I used to struggle with as a kid. I used to be very insecure about my looks, but I learned to love myself as I got older. I like my body, I like my face, I like my hair, my messy bedhead that I thought would be good for the theme of the video of just kind of, I was about to hop in and take a cold shower, and I thought, this would be nice, something I've been meaning to do, just fucking, I don't know, place a phone out in the woods and talk about just ideas I'm having. I don't think I want to do like any fancy lighting or something, and I don't think anything will come out of this. I think it's just mainly for me to get this out and to hear myself. It's kind of entertaining to do, and if anybody hears this and it helps them even a little, then my suffering isn't all that bad, So I'm trying to build security in myself so that I don't have these anxious attachments. And that I understand my worth and respect myself enough, where I don't rely on other people to make me feel that and to make me feel loved. Because I'm so much greater than just how I benefit and help people. I'm not just a soldier in that regard. I don't know if the camera's been shaking. I've been like shaking my leg a little bit. I think the table is shaking. Yeah. So right now, like, I'm kind of going through the tough action of, like, you know, obviously, like, we're gonna pick the path of least resistance, right? Like, a lot of times in relationships, I'll be in the middle, or, like, let me specify. I often put myself in this middle position where it's like, if I'm talking to someone romantically, where I want the benefits of a relationship without the responsibilities of one, and that's, just a tough fact. But, like, my brain is like, duh, if you can, like, be intimate with a person, and if you can talk to a person like you're kind of, romantically investing, but then you also don't have to do that thing, then that's good, because it's uncomfortable and you don't know what you're doing. But it leads to disaster. Like, it's never worked out so well that it's a lasting thing. It's just a temporary thing. And, if you want to just kind of be in your body phase, and if that's what you want to do, then whatever, do what you got to do. I've been there a little bit, and it's nice in the moment. It feels good to myself. It's a confidence booster. It's nice to have somebody like that intimately, but that goes away. It's like being a foodie and eating crap. Guilty as charged. It's consumable. It doesn't last. That candy bar isn't gonna stick with you for the rest of your life and give you lessons that will benefit you your whole life, and that you can fall back to in moments of trouble and in moments of confusion, right? A hookup isn't gonna change your life in that way. I mean, maybe, you meet someone and you hook up and then you meet it, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm speaking loosely. Like, generally, that thing is kind of just for the sake of feeling good and of having a goal, or having a very short goal, fulfilling that goal, and then moving on. I'm not shaming that activity in any way. I'm just trying to realize for myself that it doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve me long ways anyways. It goes away. And right now, I have to do the tough work, the hard things, the things that don't feel good right now, the things that don't give me short-term, joy in that way, the tough things that I need to hear. And, I can't be in a relationship with somebody that I really like because I'm not ready. And as painful as it is to know that somebody's ready for me, somebody that I care about deeply, and somebody that I love, I've tried to be with them, and I've tried to push through those things with them. And I had this feeling that maybe I could. But there's just so much deep-rooted things. And, we try to choose the path of least resistance. We try to... Check out my mug. I need a drink. We try to, obviously, do the path of least resistance. Why wouldn't we? Like, if I can do the easy thing and not do the hard work, your brain's like, we've grown smart enough where we can sort of take advantage of those things and realize the shortcuts and how to work around it and whatnot. But right now, I'm doing the hard work. I realize that no matter how much I might love somebody, it's not, I used to think I was waiting for the right person that would come and make it so that I wouldn't feel those things anymore, and that I was in a good space, and that I would be a good partner, but that I was just waiting for somebody to come along and do right by me. And that has happened, and to no avail. I'm still anxious. I still get stressed and envious. I still feel emotionally dependent and have a harder time being alone by myself doing the things that I was doing before and outside the relationship, you know, building up my own self-worth. So right now I'm doing the hard thing. And it sucks. You know, it sucks. But it's necessary. And we're not ever going to regret working on ourselves, you know. I'm not going to look back later and go, "Oh man, I really wish I postponed that self-improvement," you know. It'll be good, and maybe in a year it'll be better, you know. But I get impatient and I try to rush the process of working on myself at times or of being in a romantic relationship. But these things take time. And I think I get so worried about time and about just how quickly it can be taken from us that I try to do things quickly out of fear of losing the opportunity. Or maybe if I don't pursue this person romantically now, someone else will take them and I'll regret it. Or, you know, that sort of thing. But I have time. And if I want to keep any sort of sanity, like, yeah, I could die any day. Yeah, there's a million different accidents a day that could happen to me with nuclear war, even driving my car in the city and stuff, traffic, you know. Someone could fucking hit me. And like, yeah, but are you going to be paranoid about that and let it kill you your whole life? Because that'll kill you more than the actual thing. Worrying about that sort of thing won't prevent it. It won't manifest it into the world. It'll just make you worried. And most of the shit we worry about doesn't even come true or doesn't have the amount of power that we give it. We just think it does. So if I want to keep any sense of my sanity, I got to bank on tomorrow. And I got to bank on the idea that I'll be alive tomorrow. And as hard as a night can be, as times where you might be so miserable and lay down and you don't feel like getting up, and the end of the day comes and it feels, you know, endless, you wake up the next day, if you're lucky. And I've been lucky to do that for 21 years, you know, despite my pains and struggles and whatnot, and whatever place I am in life. I wake up and I get up the next day and I brush my teeth and, you know, eat my food, get dressed, do my hair, go to work. And then I feel good, and then I suffer, and the cycle continues. That's just how it is. But it's okay to be in an uncomfortable place. It's good. It hurts. It's not fun. And often we'd rather stay in a position that is not serving us, or maybe even actively hurting us, but is comfortable and is familiar, rather than put ourselves in an uncomfortable scenario where we're detaching from those things because maybe you rely on them too much, or you put your own worth on them, you know. People say, "Oh, I don't know who I am without my partner," and stuff, that sort of thing. Love yourself. Remember that anytime that you're validating those negative voices, those voices stem from you as a child. Those voices stem from the things you heard as a child. And I realize that anytime that I'm mean to myself in that way, and I don't give myself that leisure, I don't give myself the space to make mistakes or be human because I want to do right by people so much it stresses me out, I realize that I'm being mean to that kid, you know? That boy that was bullied into thinking those things. And that you're kind of bullying that kid. And when I thought about that, it really hurt me. Because, you know, if we traveled back in time and, you know, people are like, "Oh, I hate my young self. That dude was so annoying." And like, yeah, same, I get it. But like, if you can go back in time and talk to that kid, you wouldn't say, you know, guess what, buddy? Your whole like life, you're not going to be deserving of love. You know, you need other people to feel good, so don't try to do it alone. You know, stop talking. You're so annoying. Nobody cares about what you have to say. I wouldn't say those things to my younger self. I'd hug him and I'd love him and I'd say, I know that you might feel alone at times. And I know that it's easy to feel, even though you have people in your life that love you, obviously, it's easy for those feelings of loneliness to be strong, to overcome you. It's very easy to get lost in that. But it's not everything. It's not total. You will wake up the next day and there will be people that don't like you, you know? But your own worth isn't based on that. My own worth isn't based on that. I'm learning to love myself, and it's not easy. And I just have to remind myself because we're going to struggle. And even like I'm trying to learn to love myself, I'm going to have days I don't. Maybe later today. I have no fucking idea. I don't know what's going to happen later tonight. Maybe I'm going to feel like shit later tonight. Maybe I'm going to keep thinking about these things and feel good. I don't know. But the darkness will return. A wise Bennett Foddy once said that starting over is harder than starting up. You know, it can be frustrating to feel like we have to remind ourselves of things we already know or things we've already honed in on, but you do. And I think that a lot of life and a lot of moving forward in life and learning from life is reminding yourself of things. I think it really is just like you have to take a deep breath and remind yourself that you're okay. You know, like recently I've been grounding myself if I'm going to a party or something, or, you know, seeing a person I don't want to see, like an ex or something, or just trying to be in a good headspace for whatever reason. I'll sit and I'll just take a breath in my car. I'll ground myself, you know. I'll tell myself things. I'm not in danger. No one is out to get me. There's not a threat, right? People are not thinking about, oh, Mateo's here, and, you know, they're not holding on to my words. I'm not that important, and I don't mean that insecurely. I just mean people are not thinking about you that much in that way. And if they are, it's a little silly, you know? It's kind of silly. And like if you learn that those people think about you that way, then you're like, oh, okay, haters. But really, it's the thought and the possibility that drives you crazy. But that's all it is. It's a thought, you know? It's just all in there. But look around. I'm okay. I'm healthy. I'm young. I can move my body pretty well. If all I do today is breathe and smile, it will have been a good day. And if I do a little bit better than yesterday, it will have been a good day. It takes time. It takes time. But it's not just time. It's practice, but there's good practice. There's progressive practice. You can't just wait for time and hope that it works itself out, or that people will help you. Well, people will help you, but that people are the only thing that can help you. It's not true. And I hope that in time, I build enough security in myself where I can return to a partner. And maybe it's the girl that I like now, and maybe not. Maybe I'll never meet anyone at all. I don't know. It's easy to feel that way. But I can't wait for that to feel loved. Because not only is it uncertain and it's a force outside of my control, but clearly in the face of it, it doesn't work. At least not individually. I need to build my own trust so that I can trust and love people easier in that vulnerable setting. It'll be okay. For anyone that needs to hear this, for anyone that's listening, I love myself and I love you. And I hope you love yourself too. All right. I think I'll be outside next time. Anyways, if you listen, thank you. And good day.